Camembert crisis means extinction? Produced in the northwestern region of Normandy, France, in various forms since at least the 18th century, the cheese creamy, pungent and gooey, is now considered France's favorite. Therefore, recent headlines about Camembert's imminent death due to a fungal crisis have caused panic among fans of this historic fromage. Scientists, it seems, have warned that problems with the industrial production of French cheeses could have long-term consequences for their future. The alarm was raised in January when a recent study by scientists at Paris-Saclay University identified that the main fungus used to create Camembert and other cheeses was becoming increasingly scarce due to industrial production methods used to meet demand. And while the issue could spell trouble for a range of dairy products, some have interpreted it as announcing poor Camembert, which is conveniently sold in its own wooden box, is going to its grave. Blue cheeses may be threatened, but the situation is much worse for Camembert, which is already on the brink of extinction, France's National Center for Scientific Research (CNRS) said in its report on the findings. Elsewhere, a headline warned of an imminent cheese crisis, adding "Pray for Camembert." The risks of cheese could not be higher. Alongside the Louvre, Haute Couture, and the Eiffel Tower, Camembert is a national treasure loved around the world. At the heart of the problem is Penicillium camemberti, a fungus used in cheesemaking that gives Camembert its white rind and helps develop the cheese-rich, buttery umami flavor. P. camemberti, say scientists at Paris-Saclay University, is having trouble reproducing, largely as a result of the pressures of industrial production. Not so much performance anxiety per se, but as a consequence of an asexual fungal cultivation process that, due to an extreme lack of genetic diversity, is running on empty. Camembert and similar cheeses like Brie were once matured in caves or Halloir's drying rooms, where naturally occurring mold spores gave them blue or sometimes yellow-brown rinds. At the beginning of the last century, Penicillium camemberti was introduced, replacing the indigenous mold and creating the uniform white shells we know today. It is believed to be a white mutant selected from the gray-green species Penicillium commune for its color in the early 20th century, the Paris-Saclay University study said. Unfortunately, unlike its cave-dwelling fungal counterparts, researchers have found that Penicillium camemberti has very low genetic diversity and a reduced ability to reproduce sexually. Our findings raise questions about the use of a limited number of clonal lineages for cheesemaking, which tends to lead to degeneration, limiting the possibilities for future improvements, the study said. This, according to the CNRS report, means that it is now very difficult for manufacturers to obtain sufficient quantities of P. camembert spores to inoculate their Normandy cheese production. This is not the first time that Camembert has faced a crisis following the introduction of P. camemberti. According to the late Patrick Lance, a British cheese expert who wrote a definitive guide to the cheeses of France, the industrialization and conflicts of the last century nearly eliminated it. 200 world wars and big business nearly drove Camembert to its grave in all but name, he wrote in his definitive 1989 book, The Book of French Cheeses. Although scientists stand by their claims, they emphasize that there is no danger of Camembert disappearing anytime soon. We have always made it clear to journalists that there is no immediate danger to Camembert production, said researcher Tatiana Girard. What our articles say is that there is a great homogenization of yeasts and that this reduces their ability to adapt, nothing more. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this journey, please subscribe. Be happy.